1.3 million jabs of the Sputnik 5 vaccine are expected in Ghana by 15th May this year to boost the ongoing vaccination program in the battle against the COVID-19 virus in the country. This is in addition to 350,000 AstraZeneca vaccines expected this week. This was disclosed by the President, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, at this year's May Day celebrations, which were held at the forecourt of the Trades Union Congress in Accra over the weekend. According to President Akufo-Addo, international politics, among other issues, have held back government's program to immunize its 20 million target, but assured Ghanaians that his administration will keep to its plans.
The best prospect for a return to normality appears to depend on our ability to vaccinate the adult population as we have planned. We've up to now vaccinated nearly 1 million persons. International vaccine politics and the unpredictability of the supply chain mean that we have not been able to procure the vaccines according to the schedule we had envisaged. But I want to assure the nation that your government is working hard to secure the vaccines so we can hope to return our country, our economy, and our lives to the normalcy we also desire. Indeed, we're receiving 350,000 more AstraZeneca vaccines from the COVAX facility on Tuesday, in addition to the first consignment of 600,000 that came to hand on 24th February. By 15th May, government would have procured some 1.3 million Sputnik vaccines. We're determined to vaccinate 20 million Ghanaians, i.e. the entire adult populations, by the end of this year, and we remain on course to achieve this goal.
President Akufo-Addo laid bare some of the challenges the pandemic have brought to bear on the development agenda of the country and enumerated some of the interventions his administration have rolled out to cushion the plight of the Ghanaian worker.
And despite its debilitating effects, has gone to great lengths to try to protect the lives and livelihoods of the people. For the better part of 1 year, government provided free water for all households, as well as free electricity for lifeline consumers, and a 50% discount for all other consumers. Public sector jobs, for example, have been maintained, and unlike in the case of workers in the private sector, public sector workers have not experienced any retrenchments or any reduction in their wages or salaries throughout the period of this pandemic. This situation will not change. They and those who have been in the front line of keeping all of us safe are recognized and recompensed. In addition, the first unemployment insurance scheme, seeded by government, is being championed by the Social Partnership Council and is to be established by year end.
President Akufo-Addo used the occasion to announce the freezing of increments in salaries and wages of some government appointees, including himself and the Vice President. This, he said, was their own contribution to keeping the economy in good health amid the numerous challenges the COVID-19 pandemic has brought.
I have taken the decision to freeze salary increments for this year, 2021, for myself as President, the Vice President, ministers, deputy ministers, and all appointees of the executive. It is our modest contribution to reduce the damage to our public revenues and to help hasten our nation's recovery from the ravages of the pandemic.
The Ministry of Works and Housing is spearheading the use of bent brick in the construction mix in an attempt to meet the government's affordable housing target by using local construction materials. Bent bricks and other known local materials, according to Sector Minister Francis Asenso-Boakye, would be integral in new affordable housing units. Most of the government's affordable housing units are beyond the reach of low-income earners, hence any effort to lower the cost of building building a house will be welcomed. According to the Sector Minister Francis Asenso-Boakye, who made these disclosures during a tour of some project sites in the Shanti region, the Housing Ministry is open to using less expensive but high-quality materials to build affordable housing units.
Ministry no asase se fancy dan na me buy na me pese me be shemu kena na yesi dan ni bo no efo se de be ya nipa do na ye adwuma no o betimi so enya bi automatically na se dan no be yefo a eje se yetimi produce local building materials no e Ghana here yenyina anim se and saying cement board ekosro iron rod board ekosro ntu be si dan all this cement and iron rods maybe see a be ma dan so board ekosro.
Bent bricks made from clay is identified as an effective and affordable replacement for cement blocks, and with a minimal use of paint, cement and iron rods in brick house construction, the potential for lowering the cost of building will benefit those seeking affordable homes. The Sector Minister believes that the move will help reduce the cost and promotion of the use of public building.
Local building materials, bent bricks here and you buy everything. Openino Chemono or Kanyoma be brave as Faswa was so. So you sue for the buildings at the Beboa Muti. Now, ye ministry, you who say, even though neighbor work for me, Ghana for be brave and you sue brand dress because be brave and Tiasi. Now, yeah, I said about Kono said you be promoting. Me a church him, I'm gonna phone who said, Ben Bresson will sit down a yet never boy. I'm a cast a maintenance course of crown or painting crown, no, he has to be painting the year. And I did back also a ministry, you say, you say, Ghana for any Jimwa. A Bema companies, no, more produce no. Or met me, I could pay Scadia the shame, no more produce more. Minister for Education. Snassi ama ma nyanti asese schools now move sino yemma breaks we say eni akotini wumpa mini Ministry of Health and Social Minister edin komo ama ya ti asese hospitals and cheap compounds no be CCC no yemma local breaks no eni akotini yemomu emani di akotini wuma Ghana for na be diatum na ma the demand also.
The Chief Executive Officer of Vicalex Bricks, Frank Susumensa, espoused the use of bricks in construction of houses and urged the public to adopt its use.
Government has commissioned a secretariat to receive and validate complaints of attacks on media practitioners in Ghana and advocate their rights and freedoms. The Secretariat, known as the National Coordinated Mechanism on the Safety of Journalists, will be a center for media practitioners to report issues of intimidation and harassment in their line of duty for investigations. It is located at the former offices of the National Media Commission, NMC, in Accra. Mr. Kojo Opon Nkrumah, the Minister of Information who cut the tape to officially open the Secretariat, said it formed part of government's commitment towards ensuring the safety of journalists in the country. He said discussions on establishing a secretariat to promote media safety started about 2 years ago, which allowed stakeholders to make meaningful inputs. Mr. Opon Nkrumah said the office would primarily receive and validate complaints of intimidation and harassment of journalists, as well as advocate media freedoms and rights as enshrined in Chapter 12 of the 1992 Constitution.
I want to start by thanking all of those who have walked this journey with us over the last about 2 years as we commenced the efforts to put in place an acceptable coordinated mechanism for the safety of journalists in Ghana. It will be the primary place for receiving complaints or allegations of attacks on journalists. It will be the primary place for validating these complaints that are brought forth. It will be the single place for following up on these complaints to determine where they have reached in terms of investigations or prosecutions where need be, and for publishing reports on the subject of the safety of journalists here in Ghana.
Mr. Opon Nkrumah entreated the staff and leadership who would work at the Secretariat to treat complaints with absolute professionalism and dispatch and help deepen collaborations between the media and its stakeholders. He also pledged the support of government to ensure the success of the office in its operations.
Encourage our colleagues in the media, first of all, to take full advantage of this office. I'm happy to note that you have put out the phone lines that persons who have some feedback or some complaints can reach you on. I'm happier to note that you're even rolling out online platforms so that people from other parts of the country can reach you on, in addition to this physical edifice that we're opening up here. We pledge our commitment and our support to continuously support this project, and we ask all other stakeholders to take full advantage of it.
Mr. George Sarpong, the Executive Secretary of the National Media Commission, for his part said the opening of the office reinforced stakeholders' commitment to the safety of the media. He said the office will support media practice and freedoms, adding this will serve as a go-to complaint center on the safety of practitioners. Mr. Sarpong assured the media that the office will seek their welfare and safety and deal with matters expeditiously.
I want to take this opportunity to thank you yourself, Honorable Minister, for this great initiative. The one thing that I want to celebrate and to put on record is that all across our countries, government is the worst perpetrator of rights against journalists. We can't run away from that truth. So when you have a nation where the government is the one leading the search for the safety of journalists, I think it is important that we put that on record.
The Deputy Superintendent of Police, DSP Sheila Kese Abeye Bachman, the Director of Public Affairs at the Ghana Police Service, for her part, said the security services would collaborate with the Secretariat to provide safety for journalists in the country. DSP Abeye Bachman added that the country's media were testaments of the thriving democracy and needed to be empowered to play their roles effectively in nation building. The Vice President of the Ghana Journalists Association, Mrs. Linda Santieje, advised journalists to report to the Secretariat whenever they were attacked and not restrict them to the airways. Parents and guardians have been called upon to carefully monitor and supervise their children and wards in all their endeavors, especially on outdoor activities, to forestall truancy and child delinquency. This clarion call was made by the Member of Parliament for the Okankwe South constituency, Naadakwa Newman, when she spoke with NET2 TV News in an interview in Accra. She was highlighting the recent upsurge in street children who solicit and beg for monies along the major roads, especially in the nation's capital. Some major intersections in the capital, such as Madina Zongo Junction, Shiashi, the Ring Road, and the 37 Military Hospital Road, to name a few, have become hotspots for these beggars. With the proverbial Ghanaian hospitality in play, most of these street beggars, some of whom are from Niger, Chad, and Mali, have resorted to depending on the philanthropy of the Ghanaian. Naadakwa Newman pleaded with parents to ensure their children take keen interest in education or skills training to avoid becoming dropouts and consequently a burden on society.
Right, say in Krofu befa Nkrofu akogina kwan ho se ayeti say ejuma ana ayeti say bibi a wodi gige sika won Nkrofu ho ye besre won a wo ye sad no enye right imra ma ho kwan enti ye besre mo streetism no eni say eye bibi a ye encouraging Nkrofu se wonye se ubekwa akogina kwan ho se uye homeless o ana we gwan efifie nti afi street na baba ye ufie ade bia eho na odi wejuma ye besre especially won a wo ye teenagers won a wo ye mofra no paucho ye besre omokofa won na wo start lead our lives no very difficult say ye betumi integrate won back into the system wo de won ko school a very hard say wobetumi aye disciplined wobebe school on time wobeye homework because wo ho nyina na wo redwen ne ekoso se ne wobenye sika at a very early age inti yesremo sa lifestyle no eni se mo fa sa mo free na wo de won share sa ne manimu.
She bemoaned the practice by some parents who use these children for economic gains and urged them to desist from such destructive tendencies and rather give their children the opportunity to acquire skills and knowledge.
Enye right say nkrofo befa nkrofo akogina kwan ho say ayete say ejuma ana ayete say bibi a wodi gige sika won nkrofo ho ye besre won a wo ye sad no enye right imra ma ho kwan enti ye besre mo streetism no eni say eye bibi a ye encouraging nkrofo say wonye say obekwa akogina kwan ho say uye homeless o ana we gwan efifie nti afi street na baba ye ufie ade bia eho na wodi wejuma ye besre especially won a woye teenagers won a woye mofra no paucho ye besre mokofa won na wo start lead our lives no very difficult say ye betumi integrate won back into the system wo de won ko school a very hard say obetumi aye disciplined obebe school on time obeye homework because wo ho nyina na wo redwen ne ekoso senya wo benye sika at a very early age into yesremo sa lifestyle no eni say mo fa sa mo free na wo de won share sa ne manimu.
The Okankwe South constituency MP was optimistic that soon the gender ministry will move into action to curb the worrying trend of begging by street children. A women and children's rights advocate, Madam Joyce Zimpari, also shared her thoughts on the trending problem.
Very worrying to see children of school-going age with capitation grant and free SHS. The education system now is a bina manner is so relaxed for parents. Now we be who say ni padodon, but we ni mini abema. Who share and kwalane group abontain so a almost especially when the fall between the ages of 2 to let's say 13, you know, which means that 90% of them are not Ghanaians. One fi child, one fi Mali. Which means say a obi special project. A woman no nyina wo mko. A woman ni abed dump as if said the cheddar corpse so ni abed dump wo mo abegu anomo. In fact, sani we bebre child trafficking. And crofo traffic wo mo do mba ha e be your business. Enti anya de esese so oman. Mesre. In fact, it has become more dangerous seeing these children on our streets. Anything could happen. And then Manu susumina so yen kasa BBC we are the very people ye best sorry ni akasa aban ayehwe han mesre city authorities for mesre omopa mesre NGOs ne other civil societies say we nya ye nyina yen sorry yen kasentia na yen hwese ye bekonso okun abomu ni ya clear your children ye clear the streets off yen kwale ya egu kwanso